Vande Am Shri Guru Shri Guru Shri Guru Krishna Shri Guru Bhagavan Sagar Hare Krishna
Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Ansha Kalpatirubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama. To be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Can we get it up on the screen? Text 5. Satvam rajas tamayiti guna prakriti sambhavaha nabadananti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Translation. Material nature consists of the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Text 6. Tatra satvam nirmalatvat prasak prakashakam hamamayam sukha sangena badnanti yana sangena chanaga. Translation. O sinless one, the modes of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it they become conditioned by happiness. Text 7. Ajoragatmakam vedi Krishna sangha samudbhavam tanabadnati kumteya karma sangena dehinam. Translation. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to fruitive material fruitive activities. Text 8. Tamastvagana jamvidi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidrabis tanibadnati bharata. Translation. O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Text 9. In unison, please. Satam sukhe sanjayati raja karmani bharata Jnanam avrityate tumaha pramade sanjayatyuta. Translation: the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. Text 10. Rajastamash shabid Vibhuya Satvam Bhavati Bharata Rajasatvam Tamaschaiva Tamasatvam Rajastata. Translation: sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata, and sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Text 11. Sarvadreshu dehismin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tata vidyad viridam sattvam hiti uta. Translation: the manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Text 12. Lobha pravritirharambaha karmanam ashama spraha rajasyetani jayante viridhe bharatarshava. Translation: O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Text 13. Aprakasha pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante viridhe gurunandana. Translation: O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. Text 14. Ida satve pravidetu pralayam yati dehabrit Tarotama vidam lokan hamalan pratipadyate. Translation: when one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. One more. Text 15. Rajasi pratayam gatva karma sangishu jayate tata pralinas tamasi mudha yonishu jayate. Translation: when one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Back to text 4. We'll read the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. Purport: in this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original Father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but in every planet, even in the highest, where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, there are living entities, even within water and within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed-giving process. The purport is that the living entities, being impregnated in the material world, come out and form at the time of creation according to their past deeds. Maharaj, would you like to say anything?
Individual father, because he's actually the one providing the seed. And as we see it here, someone may be called the father, but he doesn't actually produce the living entity. He just acts as a carrier He carries the seeds that are provided to him in material nature. He doesn't know how to create. So we cannot go in the laboratory and make up a human seed, human semen or something like that, and then produce living entities. We don't know the formula. We don't know the formulas for any of these things. Therefore, they're all, in one sense, transcendental or beyond our capacity to understand how anything works. We take it for granted that we understand clouds form, but such an arrangement is done by the intelligence of the Supreme. And when one sees such wonderful arrangements, he should, the logical person, will understand that this is going on by the arrangement of some great personality, great brain. So, as you, living entities are made of material and spiritual energy. Because they're joined together for some time. The living spiritual energy remains within the material energy. We were reading last night that the living entity, spiritual particle never mixes with anything material. So actually he's not affected directly. He doesn't change shape, just the material nature changes shape according to his consciousness. When he has a certain consciousness, and he gets a different type of body. It's like a young man, he gets an automobile, wants a racing car. That's cool. So he gets that kind of. And old person, it's a different kind of car. Because that's their desire. They don't have the same desires to go very fast. They just want something peaceful. So, according to our desires, the living entity desires, and when your material nature provides it for him, if it's approved by Krishna, super soul, Paramatma has to approve it. And the Lord is so perfect in his design. He arranges his own expansions to go into every body and be there to direct the activities of nature and intertwine them with the desires of the living entity. It's an incredible system. And why? Because the Lord wants to enjoy. The Lord has a desire to enjoy. And therefore the living entities also have a desire to enjoy. This whole big manifestation, spiritual and material, it's all so that the Lord and the living entities can enjoy. But when it's misused, then it becomes a source of misery. Everything is like that. Medicine, if used properly, in the proper direction, it protects one from suffering. But if used wrongly, it induces more suffering. Similarly, the impious activities or the activities against Dharma simply cause the living entities more suffering. And when they follow Dharma, then they get less suffering. And as we were discussing earlier, when they become very advanced, they get bliss, not just freedom from suffering, which is a desire of the impersonalists. They just want to give up their individuality and be done with the suffering. They don't care about existing after that. But the devotees are more intelligent. They not only want to enjoy themselves, enjoy life beyond the sufferings of material existence, but they know the way to get pleasure is to serve. Serving Krishna is our constitutional mission. Those who are born in HareKrishnaKC. Everyone's meant to serve Krishna. That's real natural. And that naturally brings pleasure. And then we may think, how will I get pleasure? I'm missing out on so many of the things that I enjoy doing. But the same great personality who has arranged the pleasures in the material world, things that are pleasure giving, has a better arrangement in the spiritual world. Why not? If he's going to have his own place, why wouldn't it be better than the place of his servants? It would be much greater. So we have to have a little faith, but that's just logical. Why would the person who's so intelligent, powerful, wealthy, good looking, everything else, why would he have a place that's not as charming as this place? Doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Maharaj. Are there any questions? Shri Shri Gauratai Ki Jai. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. We'll go on to text 5. Translation. Material nature consists of the 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Purport. The living entity, because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with this material nature. Still, because he has become conditioned by the material world, he is acting under the spell of the 3 modes of material nature. Because living entities have different kinds of bodies in terms of the different aspects of nature, they are inducted to act according to that nature. This is the cause of the varieties of happiness and distress. We're hearing here that the dualities of the material world come from the contact with the mode's material nature. Very naturally, it throws us into a place of confusion, this identification with matter. But the spiritual spark, the living entity, is of Krishna's superior nature, though due to its infinitesimal nature, becomes overpowered by this external inferior nature, which is in itself divine and of the Lord's. So I was reading in the songbook last night in the purport to the Maha Mantra that it's due to this incompatible contact that the living entity has with Maya, Mahamaya, that all this confusion arises, being under the spell of the three modes of material nature, this goodness, passion, and ignorance. And this is the very cause of all happiness and all distress. We hear as well that the different aspects of nature corresponding to the different kinds of bodies that living entities have are also controlled by these modes of material nature. Very clearly, we can see that a species, upon being born, knows exactly what to do. It's in his nature. It's in that body's nature. So this is more proof that we're actually not the doer, that this body we actually have no control over. It's just being controlled by this external force called Maya. Maya means illusion, or that which is not. We're not our bodies. I was listening to a Prabhupada memory with Shruti recently, and it was this incredible moment that illustrated how Prabhupada could use anything and everything to draw someone back to Krishna consciousness. I really enjoy hearing these connections that he can make so seamlessly. They were in India, him and Shruti, who was an assistant of his. If you're not familiar, he was a long time assistant with Prabhupada, got very close association. And they're approaching these steps somewhere in India that Prabhupada was very familiar with. These steps he used to run up as a child. And he was standing at the bottom of these steps and he was telling Shruti that he still wanted to run up the steps, but his body wouldn't allow him. The same desire was there, but the body itself would no longer allow him to do such a thing. So Prabhupada said, this desire that I have, that hasn't changed at all since I was a kid, is still the same. Therefore, I'm not my body. So I thought that was very expert. And Shruti made a nice point that he called that whole statement of Prabhupada not being able to run up the stairs a bluff, because he said that if anyone actually went on a walk with Srila Prabhupada, he had an incredible pace that he kept. So he said it was a bit of a bluff, but it was used in Krishna service to illustrate a point that was very nicely made. We hear in a couple verses coming up about what type of consciousness at the time of death, what type of consciousness one has that then in turn takes them to animal body, human body, body of a demigod. We hear that the mode of goodness is purer than the others and is illuminating, freeing one from all sinful reactions. It's a symptom of those situated in knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. So, if one is situated in this mode of goodness, then I guess you can say that they go up at the time of death. Whereas one in passion takes a birth predominantly in that mode of passion, which is this human form of life. Yes, Maharaj.
The mode of goodness, conditioned by happiness. One might think, well, what's wrong with being conditioned by happiness? But that happiness can be like complacency. Complacency is a type of happiness too. He's satisfied with his level of existence. So those who are in the mode of goodness, they think I'm doing better than the others, and it becomes complacent to go on birth to birth in the mode of goodness. That's not very intelligent, because aim only can fall down as the lower species. So it's dangerous. And in reality, so-called happiness is just an illusion. He's fooling himself, thinking that he's in a very happy situation. It's like the cow dung that's stuck on the wall is laughing at the cow dung that's being burned and used for fuel. You see that? Look at those poor cow dung. They're getting burned. I'm safe. I'm dry. I am dry. He doesn't know. When he dries out, he's going to be killed.
That's a very nice point. They put the cow dung on the wall so that the sun can hit it, and that's when it dries. And that's a very nice example. It shows us of our situation. The sun drying the cow dung. Time dries us out here in the material world, whether we have the body of a demigod or a human or an insect. So this happiness that Maharaj was saying is only an illusion. Should not really be called happiness, but it should just be called the temporary cessation of suffering. It's only a matter of time before that which we're enjoying leaves us. And the more that we relish that enjoyment in a way that it's ours to enjoy, the more it's going to sting when it actually leaves. And what's a greater sting? What's more humbling than standing at the front of death's door when you had previously lived your life in such a way that nothing could touch you? That's a pretty humbling day. So we can be humbled now, or we can be humbled at the time of death. But one way or another, we're going to be humbled. This complacency that comes with being situated in the mode of goodness, this can actually obstruct one's desire to learn this transcendental knowledge. And similarly, the flip side of that, one situated in ignorance is so bewildered that they have no interest in this kind of knowledge either. So this human form of life that we have is such a wonderful opportunity where if we really just spend our time, it's an important opportunity that we have as humans, because we can see both the good and the bad, the goodness and the ignorance. We certainly know a lot about passion. So we can see everything pretty objectively. And if we have a spiritual master, then they can clear up these things that can only be speculated upon. We can find absolute truth. But what's missing in the mode of goodness oftentimes, and in the mode of ignorance oftentimes, is a desire to take up this knowledge. We have to want this. If we don't want to do the process of devotional service, then we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot there. We have to see the need. We can't sow seeds with clenched hands. We have to take to the process. Okay, we can keep going. Where are we at? 6. I jumped up a little bit, I think, but no, yeah, here we are. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. That's right. Purport. The living entities conditioned by material nature are of various types. One is happy, another is very active, and another is helpless. All these types of psychological manifestations are causes of the entity's conditioned status and nature. How they are differently conditioned is explained in the section of Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is first considered. The effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. A man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. The representative is the Brahmana. The representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. The sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reactions. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and a greater sense of happiness. I'd like to make a point, actually. I realized that what I was saying just a second ago was almost in the mood that we shouldn't come to the mode of goodness, but I did want to make the point that we must come to the mode of goodness in this human form of life as soon as possible. And this is the only way to actually go beyond these three modes of material nature that bind us to this repeated world of birth and death. That's a necessity. But to piggyback on what Maharaj was saying is simply to go up in the material world is not the supreme goal of our life. And upon doing such a thing, one can very easily forget the call of devotional service and burn out that credit and find themselves back in the same situation all over again. So I apologize if that wasn't clear. Continuing the purport, second paragraph. The difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in the mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and is better than others. In this way, he becomes conditioned. The best examples are the scientist and philosopher. Each is very proud of his knowledge, and because they generally improve their living conditions, they feel a sort of material happiness. The sense of advanced happiness in conditioned life makes them bound by the mode of goodness of material nature. As such, they are attracted toward working in the mode of goodness, and as long as they have an attraction for working in that way, they have to take some type of body in the modes of nature. Thus, there is no likelihood of liberation or of being transferred to the spiritual world. Repeatedly, one may become a philosopher, a scientist, or a poet, and repeatedly become entangled in the same disadvantages of birth and death. But due to the illusion of the material energy, one thinks that sort of life is pleasant. Janmaishvajam Shruta Shribir, Ramana Mara Puman, Ivarhatya Bridatum Vai, Twamakinchana Gocharam. This is a prayer that Queen Kunti makes in Bhagavatam. She says, "O my Lord, your lordship can easily be approached by only those who are materially exhausted. The person on the path of material progress, trying to improve his life with great parentage or respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, they cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So we must see this material happiness of respectable parentage, great opulence, bodily beauty, high education. We must see this as the illusory energy of the Lord. Maya, meant to deceive us, throwing us off the scent of devotional service. If that's what we want, that's the thing. It's whatever we want that is given to us if deemed okay by the Lord. We heard Maharaj say this in his answer here. He said, what did he say? Let's see. Something along that lines. He said, That ultimately Krishna signs off on everything. But if we want something within the modes of material nature, then if he signs off on that, it will come to us. This is why it's so important that we must operate outside of ourselves, hearing from people and from Shastra who are established in authoritative knowledge. The Vedas, one must find faith in the Vedas and continue to deepen that faith. Krishna says, Sarvasi chaham hridisane vishto, vatasmitir jnanam upahanam cha, vadaishya savaraham evi vedyo, vedanta krid veda videva chaham. I am the cause of remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. By all the Vedas I am to be known. I'm the compiler of the Vedas. This knowledge, it's something special because it's completely pure in that it's coming from the Supreme Lord and it's been protected by the Supreme Lord through his bona fide representatives. So we must hear what they have to say, and we must throw off all reluctance to their instruction. We must willingly submit. And I liked the point that Maharaj made about the medicine, taking the medicine. I was speaking about this a little bit tonight when me and Jagannath went on books. Medicine that's used properly is meant to help you, free you from sickness. This is the prescription that we've been given here in this wonderful program that we get to take part in every day. It's if we take to the program as it is, as it should be, then what happens is we become purified. This is something that Maharaj has said to me a few times, that we've heard from Srila Prabhupada, and that I've heard from so many devotees trying to keep me enthused and motivate me in my offering to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So it's only when we speculate as to how much medicine we need to take. Oh, I don't need to do that program. I can skip this, I can skip that. Maybe I'll go eat at an irregular time because I can. Actually, these things really wreak havoc on our devotional service. And we should be so determined to build momentum in our devotional life. And these things actually, they dam the water that should be flowing constantly. It stops the water. It stops this constant, uninterrupted flow of devotional service that we hear is the only way to completely satisfy the soul. Rendering loving service unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And it's just, even in a mundane sense, if a doctor gives you a prescription, you're not just gonna, that's a prescription to heal you. And if you just take half the amount that he's recommending, then how can you expect it to actually take its full effect? This morning, Dhanaguru Maharaj made the point that it's not through our own volition that we can obtain the mercy of Krishna. It's not through our works that we do anything so great that we can actually become liberated and extinguish the fire of conditional life. It's only through our sincerity that a bona fide spiritual master sees that we can actually, that we're ready for this transcendental knowledge. And then from him only, from our attempt to just try our best, this knowledge is bestowed upon us. But it's nothing through anything great that we can accomplish ourselves, that we can know Krishna. This is causeless knowledge. Ahaitu kyaprati hata. And it's immediate. It can be immediate. As quick as the mind flickers is as quick as we can take full shelter of this process of devotional service. If we just stop sabotaging ourselves at every move. That's at least what I find myself doing. Anyone would like to make any points? We're running out of time, but maybe we can keep going. Purport. Text 7. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti. And because of this, one is bound to material fruit of activities. Purport. The mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. Woman has attraction for man, and man has attraction for woman. This is called the mode of passion. And when the mode of passion is increased, one develops the hankering for material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy sense gratification. For sense gratification, a man in the mode of passion wants some honor in society or in the nation, and he wants to have a happy family with nice children, wife, and house. This is nice. Well, it's unfortunate because it's where I am positioned at, but a man in the mode of passion wants some honor in society. We're always looking for some sort of respect, honor. And this is why it's so important to come to the mode of goodness, because one in the mode of goodness does not have this propensity to lord it over his peers, his fellow living entities. He knows, he's qualified to understand that qualitatively, I'm no better than the next person. And he sees himself as a servant of that person, actually. But this honor, there's an incredible song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur in which the translation reads, Kave Habe Bolo say that not expecting their honor is the only time that I can taste the name's nectar sublime. So this is why we must come to the mode of goodness, because without coming to the mode of goodness, we cannot properly chant. I mean, we can't receive the full effects of chanting. The mode of goodness, Prabhupada says, is the launch pad to this nirgun, to this spiritual life. So these are the products of the mode of passion. Wanting honor, wanting a happy family, nice children, wife, and house. As long as one is hankering after these things, he has to work very hard. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that he becomes associated with the fruits of his activities and thus becomes bound by such activities. In order to please his wife, children, and society, and to keep up his prestige, one has to work. Therefore, the whole material world is more or less in the mode of passion. Modern civilization is considered to be advanced in the standards of the mode of passion. Formerly, the advanced condition was considered to be in the mode of goodness. If there is no liberation for those in the mode of goodness, what of those who are entangled in the mode of passion? Prabhupada was once in France, and I forgot who he was with. He was with some of his devotees, and they were just taking one of his morning walks, and they were taking a look at some of the houses, the neighborhoods, and Prabhupada made a note. He marked that that the French really know how to. They're really situated in the mode of passion to such a degree that they just really know how to enjoy their senses, and you could even just see this from the architecture alone, the way that the houses were built and their front yards, and he was really going in on the French in that way specifically, and I thought that was funny. But more or less, the whole world, the whole modern civilization is considered to be advanced in the standards of the mode of passion. Maharaj said last night that, or maybe this morning he said it, that everyone's implicated, just about everyone. I was asking a question. I asked what the gentleman whose home program he went to, I asked what he did for work. Maharaj says, it doesn't matter. In Kali Yuga, everyone's implicated in some way or other in the degradation. But to take that, and this is a nice point, actually, to take that and to use it in Krishna's service. It's like one can make the argument that just by walking outside, there's so many karmic reactions. There's so much harm that we're doing to the environment with our cell phones and with our trash that we're, creating. And this is all being done here at the temple. So one might say, like, you guys are just like contributing to the world problems. But from a different way of looking at it, from a higher way, from knowledge, we can see that everything that we're taking here, we're using for Krishna in his service to him. And it's completely different. It's night and day. Whereas there's this spiritual pollution, we're actually taking that and we're spiritualizing it in Krishna's service. So one has to understand that there's a line that's drawn there. And if the whole world was doing that, taking Krishna's resources and giving them back to Krishna, then we would live in a completely different society where we wouldn't be producing so much trash and so much pollution into the atmosphere. So we're setting an example in one way. We're making ourselves qualified, coming to the mode of goodness by any way that we can. And I think we should probably stop there. That's our time. Would anyone like to make a quick last point? So, Bhagavad Gita as it is, ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you, devotees.